Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Fight Talk Live with your hosts, Base the Kid and the delectable October Red in the building for your listening pleasure. October, how are you?
All the better for seeing you, Base.
Oh, you're too kind.
You just bring that glisten to my eye,
I try. I
or
try.
almost like watering at the moment,
I know. I don't like to make women cry. That's not a good thing.
in a good way.
Even then, I don't know. It's a bit sus. I've been watching too much of the Diddy documentary for that one.
Oh, oh. You know what he's doing as well? He's doing another. He's gonna release a couple more on YouTube because apparently 50's got some more
I've heard.
bundles in his suitcase.
I've heard, although I don't think he's actually going to release it on YouTube. I think he just said that to make Netflix don't pick up the bag for another one because the metrics are crazy. So they will want a part two.
You know what? I'm gonna ask what were the numbers for it? Have they published them?
They said it was some. Yeah, they did. I think it was like 22 million views in the first
What?
24 hours or something like that. It beat out Stranger Things when because they came out the same week. I don't know what the total numbers are, but that was like the first week or the first day's numbers. I think Stranger Things was like 25 million over 2 days, and that was like 21.8 in the first one. So
They're gonna do a second part then, 100%.
most definitely. But ladies and gentlemen, sorry, we should be talking
We
boxing,
digress.
but we got a bit sidetracked there. The Danny Glover, our brother in arms, he is currently in Ghana alongside Craig Spider Richards as they get ready to take on Super Dan Aziz. So he probably will not be in attendance today, nor would we kind of want him to because then there's a bit of a bias getting on the
True.
chat for for a fight that neither of us actually want to see in terms of having to predict. Myself included as red, but me from a very historical standpoint, know both guys extremely well. Went to school with one, and obviously went to school with one's cousin, and then as such has been very close throughout the years. So I'm staying away from that one. I think I told everyone basis picks. I will not be predicting that, but everything else on the card I will do, just so you guys kind of know. But Red, I was thinking right because obviously we did have a little bit of stuff over the weekend. It maybe would be a little bit rude to not address that as we normally do, but let's do something a bit different this time. We will talk about it at the end of the show. But let's be honest, we're all here for one major thing right now. It's fight week for a fight that none of us ever really thought was going to happen. None of us predicted it was not on our wish list. But it's a fight that, as soon as it was announced, all of a sudden it was all you could kind of think about. And I will be the first to say, not even say that I was wrong, because I didn't never say, oh, it would never happen. But I did truly believe that when Jake was calling out not just AJ, but Canelo and some of the others,
Yeah.
although Canelo was maybe a bit closer to it, that he was kind of, all right, smoke and mirrors. He's like, he's drumming up the interest. He's doing it. Okay, I want to fight these people. I know that they're not going to fight me, but I can say I want to fight them. Then that just gives me a bit more credibility for the next fight that I have, because well, I tried to get this person in the ring and they didn't want it. Well, thanks to the direct ludicrousy of Javante Davis,
Hmm.
I'm assuming Netflix probably applied a little bit of pressure. Said, look, if you want to keep a big card on the platform, like it's got to be someone credible. We, we're not going to take any former MMA stars, any basketball guys turned pugilists. Like we want someone that's going to give us the numbers. And fair dues, he had three names. I think it was Ryan Garcia, Terence Crawford, and Anthony Joshua. Ryan Garcia was not allowed to take it. Golden Boy said no. Terence, I think, said he was happy to do it, but he wanted to do it next year, like February time. And Joshua said, "Hey, a little bit of quick change, why not?" And so we are here. The promos has been great. So far, they've done really well with some of the viral content. I know October, that's your bag. So yeah, let us know how you've kind of been receiving everything on Instagram and everywhere else on social media.
Yeah, I will say, base. I was one of them that was maybe a bit disjointed on why he would take the fight, looking at it from the complete boxing head that I am. And then it's grown on me. It's a fight that's grown on me, and I'm actually interested in watching it. So catching up, I think the promo is fabulous, from what they're doing with the Instagram posts to what they're doing on YouTube, the way they've got that MMA docu series kind of feel to it, where they're going into the gyms, or it's almost like BTS, but it's not BTS. It's on the screen. It's beautifully done, even down to the music, the colors that they've used, the gradient of the color. It's just fantastic. I'm caught up in it because it's interesting. They've made it interesting to watch. It's almost like a series, and you're like, okay, when's the next one coming out? And I mean, getting when they're done the face off, and getting my man in the middle to do the face off, like an
Man like
icon.
Cameron.
Yeah, like an icon in hip hop to do the face off. And he was fantastic with the questions. He was asking difficult questions as well. If he was given a script, it looked like he didn't have one, because he looked
Hmm.
like he had genuine interest, and he was going backwards and forwards. Like, you've said this, or you think this. Oh, he's calling you a YouTuber. What do you think about that? And it was phenomenal. They need to bring him back to do more face-offs. I wouldn't even mind him coming over to the UK for a key fight and doing a face-off with our guys as well, because that was impressive. Really, really impressed. I can't forget the undercard, but obviously the eyes are on this. And I will say, base, I admire, and I've said it before, I admire what Jake is doing. I admire what he's done. He's a true entrepreneur. He really does believe in himself. He's built his business from being a YouTuber, from being an influencer. He's signed up practically. He's scraping the four corners of the earth to get the women to join most valuable promotions. We've seen them getting picked off one by one from the four corners. He's doing bits, and he's not just doing bits. He's fighting on his own cards. So he's promoting, he's fighting. He's obviously got a managerial dip into it. I rate him. And of course, nobody thinks he's going to go in there and beat Anthony Joshua. But it's the dynamics for me, base, because he's managed to get a DAZN fighter that's locked in for the rest of his career, and got him out on loan like he's a football player, to fight on under his promotion and to be broadcast on Netflix. To me, that's a skill in itself. Yes, you could say money talks. I get that. But he still managed to do it. So I'm going to give him his flowers for just achieving that alone. Not even talking about what's going to happen in the ring. But I like his confidence. There was a clip that DAZN cleverly clipped up. And it's a shame that they didn't really have that kind of promo with the DAZN stuff. I think they could learn some things from Netflix, or learn some things from Most Valuable. Jake Paul said, I'm going to knock him out. Anthony Joshua said, I need to knock him out. And just the differences in the wordplay, brilliant. It's a capture, because it's something that could become viral however the fight turns out. You can see I'm gassed about it, genuinely gassed about it. But I like when the underdog just keeps on crawling until they get to the top. So I admire what Jake Paul's doing. I said I had no horse in the race when I was on Undefeated Podcast last week, and I meant that. I don't care who wins, but I admire the business acumen of Jake Paul. So respect to him.
Yeah, good Capricorn lad, that guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, same birthday as Usyk and Muhammad Ali.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Well, there you go then.
I told you we don't play about, but that's another story for another time. But yes, no. Look, to in all seriousness, now, yeah, total respects to him. The entire undercard, it does appear like the majority of, actually no, all of the fights I think on the main part of the undercard I think are all women's fights. There are some male fights I
The
think on the
Silver's on there,
prelims.
isn't he?
Yeah, I think they're on the prelims bit. But it's a, yeah, it's a really good platform for that. Obviously, they are doing what are they calling it? MVPF, I think they're calling it, most valuable promotions females or something like that.
Okay.
So it's going to be like it's the same thing, but like almost like a separate arm, and they're going to have all the revenue under there. And I think Amanda Serrano is supposedly
The
supposed to
head.
head it up as soon as she
Yeah.
retires, and then ultimately it will be a case of they will even get more dividends and more royalties and stuff out of it. So yeah, big up to look Jake and Nikisa and I guess Amanda as well, in another roundabout way. I don't know much about Alicia Baumgartner's opponent. I've watched a little bit of the record. There is, I've got something I might say, but you know what? I might wait until next week after the
All
fights
right.
happen before or I may say it later on. I don't want to. All I'm going to say is in terms of the co-main, it doesn't feel very co-mainy for an MVP card. That's what I'm going to say there, and maybe I'll elaborate on that in a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, look, it's like I said, it's a fight that no one was necessarily asking for, but the closer it gets, the more intrigue. But the
Yes.
intrigue is weird. I've never seen a fight have intrigue around, can he get him knocked out in one round or can he knock him
Yeah.
out in two?
Imagine.
It's not about who could, it's not, oh, like, does he have a chance to win? It's just, does he have a chance to go 2 3 rounds? And that in itself is a really weird angle to have a promotion based on, but it works.
Mm,
And I think that in itself is almost clever. Now it's not Jake who's pushing that narrative, but it's like everyone else.
yes.
The thing that I've seen though, and the thing that to me is the most, I think the most overplayed part is when people are saying, "Oh, like AJ has to knock him out in one round," or the most it can go is 2 rounds. Anything more than that, and you got to kind of question him. And it's funny because Jake Paul said something a little while ago. And I think AJ might have said something a little bit similar in their press conference, but basically it was saying along the lines of that AJ struggles with guys that are kind of my height with my speed and whatnot. So first things first, okay, you got to kind of remember, yes, Jake is a naturally smaller guy. I don't know, I won't say he's like quick, but in terms of
Ruiz.
heavyweight, he'd probably
Comparison to
be on the
Ruiz.
quicker side of a heavyweight type person
Mm-hmm.
because he's not a natural heavyweight like that. And when people talk about, yeah, but he knocked out Ngannou in 2 rounds, yeah, but Ngannou is the same height as Joshua, same height, same reach, like not of a more sturdy person, someone that's gonna like be in front of you, is not gonna be moving, dipping under, ducking, like he's there basically to get lined up for your rights and your lefts all night, and vice versa. When you've got someone with different levels showing you different levels, it's a whole different ball game. It takes a bit longer to adjust. It's the same reason why AJ had torrid times with
Povetkin.
Povetkin before he finally managed to figure out the puzzle.
Yep.
And he's not the kind of guy that has the ability to figure out a puzzle usually in one round. It usually takes him a couple. Because
Mm-hmm.
the first round he wants to warm into it just himself. Second round he wants to try something. Okay, if this one works, cool. All right, let me try that again. Okay, it didn't work that time. Let me try this. Or okay, I gotta be careful. I gotta be cautious because he's not going out there like wrecking like a wrecking ball,
Yeah.
like how he started his career. Everything for him now is strategic.
Calculated. Yeah.
So it's the same way how when he fought Kubrat Pulev, he in theory he really should have got Pulev out of there in the third or the fourth round. But because he didn't get him out of there, sort of took a bit of time to have to readjust and get some of his energy back. It just okay, kind of try break him down, then eventually got him out in the ninth. Now, while I'm not expecting that to be the case in this fight, it's just I just see the dynamics are a little bit different. And outside of all of that, there's something that none of us have factored in. Well, I think maybe some people have, they just don't want to really truly believe it. But
What?
what if Jake Paul can just take a punch? What if AJ cracks him with his biggest shots and maybe Jake doesn't even go down. What if he's got a shock absorber that none of us knew he's got? What if he's actually got a proper beard? What if and what if in the effort to try and get Jake out, maybe you do drop him, maybe he gets up, you drop him again, he gets up, and then now all of a sudden your energy levels are running low because you've cracked this guy with everything you've got, and somehow he's still managing to stay in the fight. These are all the kind of things we none of us really predict. It's the same reason when Joshua, he might people might say maybe he was pulling his punches a little bit, wasn't fully committing in the Jermaine Franklin fight for scare of what may have come back. But you still cracked him clean multiple occasions, and he stayed on his feet. You cracked Andy Ruiz in the first fight and even the second fight clean, stayed on his feet. Cracked Usyk a couple of times, maybe not super clean, but Usyk, good beard, stayed on his feet. Joseph Parker, same thing. Like, just what if Jake can take the punches? That's something that no one's thought of. It's not even about can he win, but can he? What if he can take the punches and your best stuff doesn't work? Maybe now it is 4, 5, 6 rounds before, or 6 or 7, or it goes a distance. You've
See,
dominated, beat the crap out of him for the whole fight, but he's there.
I think if that happens, Base, he's in trouble. If that happens, I see that he's in trouble. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he I think his job would probably be to go in there and get Jake out as quick as possible. He says that he's not bothered about the negativity and all that stuff. But we know that he does listen to what people say. He does feed into that. And I think he will put a lot of pressure on himself. And I do agree with Jake that, yeah, if Jake gets splattered, that's what's supposed to happen. He said that's what everyone's expecting anyway. But the real pressure is on Anthony Joshua. And then to me, it goes back to that mental side of stuff. Jake was speaking very, very confidently, very believed in himself, brought in, the power of Jesus, this, blah, blah, blah. And then when AJ come in with his spiritual stuff, Jake Paul intelligently dismissed spirituality, stating that his belief in his Lord Savior Jesus Christ, how he puts it, is stronger. And it was almost like AJ was like, "Oh, I can't really go anywhere with that." So the thing is with Jake Paul, say whatever you want about him, he's extremely confident and he believes in himself. I don't. I honestly do believe that Anthony Joshua does pack that power. We saw what he did with Ngannou. Whether Ngannou just wasn't concentrating, wasn't switched on enough, but he ended up getting folded anyway. It can happen. It can still happen to Jake Paul. I think sometimes those knockouts are about that timing, where you hit them not expecting it. It's the shots that you don't see, where, like you said, rugged opponents, like your Jermaine Franklin, hardened, ready for that. Is Jake Paul that hardened? He's had a camp of sparring heavyweights for the first time. Is he going to have that resilience for his first time? Anything's possible. And the way the hype that's got us in here, there is that what if. The way I see it, and the only way I see Jake Paul winning is if he continues to be able to slip the shots that AJ's got coming in and he's able to be quick handed and let off accumulation of shots. Then I see a problem. Like you were saying, it's like if that happens to me, then there's a problem. So I think AJ would just go in there, seek and destroy.
No, I hear that, and I think that's the task, and I think that's what he's going to do. But
Yeah.
again,
There's
my
a what
whole
if. Yeah.
my whole thing is not that he's not going to do that. My whole thing is what if he does, and Jake can take the shots, and he's
And he
because
keeps on
there,
coming back.
yeah, there are people, and it's not even necessarily that he comes back firing. Although he said that that's what he wants to do. He wants to, if when AJ, he said when AJ throws, I want to throw. I want to throw combinations because he gets flustered when he's in combination. So
Yeah.
if you keep throwing at him, he won't throw back.
Yes.
He's not a counter puncher,
Yes.
which is interesting. But again, my whole thing is I expect Jake to get ironed out like everyone else does.
Mm.
But the one thing that I've actually not committed to, and nor do I actually see it happening, is that it happens in the first 2 rounds. I haven't given a prediction yet, but
Now
my
I
prediction is literally going to do just about how the fight ends, as
yeah.
opposed to who wins. But I will tell everyone that for free. I don't think it's going to be I actually don't think it will be in the first three. I think anything that happens in this fight is going to be 4 rounds and onwards.
Serious.
That's my opinion.
All right then. So when you're coming to those kind of conclusions, you're looking at the opponents that obviously Jake Paul's had, his style, or is it more weighted on the probability of Anthony Joshua's last fight? Where how are you coming to this
No,
conclusion?
I'm coming to that based on how Anthony Joshua usually looks with people of similar-ish dimensions to Jake Paul.
All right.
The person that I think I could give him the most similarities to, or probably the closest to at this point, would be Carlos Takam and Alexander Povetkin. Um, he might have speed similar to culpable to Usyk, to be honest. Now, if you can, like you said, if you can slip, if you can get in and out of range, or if you can even stay on the back foot and maybe make AJ have to chase for like 3 minutes, maybe the shots just don't land. That they maybe they connect, but they don't land hard enough because
Look,
you're not fully on the end of the jab. You're like it's just touching
skimming.
because
Yeah.
you're moving out of range. There could be all kinds of scenarios where that happens, but that's why I just don't think Jake is going to be there early
All the
doors
time.
to
Yeah.
get caught because he even said, I want to take him out rounds 5, 6, like, when his gas tank starts to go, which tells me
Oh,
that
he's
his
what?
game plan is to try and last the
Wear him out.
first couple rounds by moving about. He's probably going to try and do the same tactics that have you ever played Fight Night Champion?
Nah.
Okay, so in the game Fight Night Champion, and anyone who's watching, I think will probably have played that game before. There's a guy called Isaac Frost, who's basically he's probably modeled really on like Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko.
Okay.
And then there's a guy called Andre, I think it's Andre something, and basically he was like a light heavyweight, and his brother in the game was the heavyweight. His brother was the younger brother. Brother got battered by Isaac Frost. He's come out of prison. He took a case for his brother. Came out of prison, and so basically he's gone to try and get back the
Revenge.
honor.
Yeah, the Avengers.
So, but he's a smaller guy, so obviously had to bulk himself up. Very similar. And then in the game, the tactics are for the first 3 rounds, you have to move away from Isaac Frost. You can't engage with him. You
Get
move
him away.
away. Occasionally, you touch to just try and so that you stay in the game, so he's just not pounding on you for the entire 3 rounds. Pause. But you stay away. You circle. You circle. You circle. Rounds 4 and 5. You're then supposed to try and go to the body a little bit to try and take some air out of the tires. Go to the body. Go to the body. Round 6, he gets a cut, and then now you have to manage the cut for a round, so you can't, otherwise that can open up and cause whatever. And then from that round 7, now obviously this is a 12 rounder, but round 7 and 8 in the game, you see Isaac Frost. Now he's all of a sudden he's heaving, he's heavy, he's
Yeah.
breathing hard. So then they say, okay, now it's your time. Go to work. I would not be surprised if Jake's played that game and thought, okay, these are the kind of tactics. Like stay away first couple rounds, 1, 2, 3, maybe just touch just to stay composed. Try to get to the body in the fourth round, stay close, see if I can just work a little bit out there, and then just try to drain the engine that way. I would not be surprised if that's the tactics.
Who's his coach? Do you know who Jake Paul's coach is?
Um, he's got a bunch of different coaches. It's not like,
Okay, fair
oh
enough.
yeah, he's got like a whole team, but I know that mainly I think Jay Leon Love does a lot of his pad work and stuff. And apparently they said that he's got Don Charles out there or as a special advisor.
It's,
That's what I heard.
if,
So I
if I
don't I don't know who his
start
official coach
rumble
is.
on Friday night, I think I might just pass out on the live.
Well, I
Um,
was going to ask you on your are you going to go sleep and wake up, or are you going to try and just stay all the way through?
I think I'm going to go to sleep.
Okay.
It's dangerous going to sleep because that means I have to set an alarm.
3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, I've set it up now. It's there. It's ready to go. Because I do want to watch the fight. I am invested, and for me to say I'm going to do a live, get out of my bed at 2 a.m. I'm definitely invested. 2 or 3 a.m. It depends what time. Because I'm only going to do it for the Cole and that one. I mean, fair enough. You could say I'll do Caroline. I love Caroline, but I'm not getting up to do 3 fights in the middle of the night.
Well, Caroline's going to be on the prelims part anyway.
Okay, well there you go. No one won't see me for that. It's just the last two, or maybe just the AJ fight. Who is AJ got in his corner? I know he said he's with Team Music, etc., etc. But who has he actually got in his corner?
Igor
Oh,
Golev.
it is it. Okay.
Yeah, Igor Golev. Apparently, Ade said that he spoke to him on Instagram the other day, and he was saying, "Look, just like keep AJ." He said something along the lines of "keep AJ safe," and he's like, "Don't worry, you'll see when we." I don't know what necessarily the whole thing meant, but when you look at all the training that they've been doing, like it actually looks quite scary. To be fair, so again, I don't really have any concerns on that side, and I feel like if you're in that team, they definitely will be working on his mental makeup and the way that how he he has to constantly overthink everything. I think that they're giving him because I've seen him. They made him do all the brain training stuff and the quick the
Reflexes.
problem solving. No, it's like it's not even reflect the problem solving stuff that Usyk they always used to make him do the equations and stuff in the press conferences to keep
Oh,
the breath.
okay.
Yeah, I've seen them. AJ's been doing similar stuff, so I feel like his penchant to overthink may be dialed back a little bit in this one, which will be interesting.
We'll see how it works. I've always been an advocate of he's got all the magical ingredients. He's just got to know what order to put it in. And I do believe once he actually sits in himself and believes in his capability, he's really unstoppable. His worst enemy is himself, and I've said that already. So great stuff. But it's this fight's not going to really be a measuring stick, with all due respect to Jake Paul, whether the mind, the mentality is at its best. It's when, like Eddie Hearn has shouted, he'll be back in contention 2026. There's the rumor about Tyson Fury, which just went over my head. I thought, I ain't listening to this again. But when it's that type of fight, it's those type of fights when I'm going to think, okay, now let's see what the training team have done with him.
But
And well, go on.
now I'm gonna say with regard to that,
Yeah,
I see why you would come to that conclusion. But let's be honest, when do people actually normally feel the most pressure? Is like when everything's going how it's supposed to. Like for me personally,
yeah,
like okay, oh for you, I know you're a little bit like me in terms that you like to find the bad so that you can kind of anticipate it before it happens.
yeah,
Like, but when things is going too good, it's like
yeah.
okay, why is it going too good? Like okay, what's about to come around the corner? You never, no one's ever really comfortable. Well, coming from I guess maybe the backgrounds we come from, you're never really that comfortable when there's nothing going
I
on.
hear,
'Cause
I
you're like,
hear it.
because that's not how our life normally plays out.
I hear it.
So in a situation like when he's got basically everything to lose, nothing to gain apart from the paycheck, he's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. It's not like oh, this is a close competitive match and you're the favorite. No, you're supposed to destroy this guy.
In
And I
two
feel
rounds.
like when those situations come in and you've got the pressure of having to live up to an expectation that is outside the realm of normality, that's probably where he was gonna like overthink the most usually. So that's
Yeah.
why I feel like this to me, this fight is probably a harder fight for him to deal with like mentally than a Tyson Fury fight would be, in my opinion.
See, in a sense, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I disagree, like in a polite way though. And the only reason why I'm saying it is that, like I said, if Jake Paul gets into his head, it could be curtains. Jake Paul he knows he's internet ready, isn't he, Jake Paul? Let's put it that way. So he's sharp. And like I said before, all the pressure is on Anthony Joshua. But when you look at boxing experience and boxing IQ, just naturally, that should outweigh that pressure. I get it. He's got a lot to lose if he doesn't knock him out in 2 rounds, all that rubbish. Yeah. But to me, it's when he comes out of that and then he's faced with somebody that's got the equal amount of IQ or maybe slightly higher than him, where he's going to be forced to think for himself a lot in those 3 minutes. And I think he'll get that with better competition. But I understand it because Jake Paul is Jake Paul. He's supposed to do all of this. So there is pressure with that. But I want to see how he manages it when there's someone as clever as him, experienced as him, and could potentially outbox him if he doesn't think on his feet quickly, or doesn't let all these things get into his head. That's the way I see it. But I hear what you're saying.
No, I mean it's valid, definitely valid. All right, so um, I mean, look, we could probably speak about that for the entire
Yeah, we
stream. To
could,
be
we
fair,
could, we could.
um, but okay, let's look at some of the undercard. Now, yes, I know that you're not going to be awake for a lot of it,
Yeah,
but it is still a whole event and production. Let's go through some of the other fights just so you can kind of, I guess, give some thoughts. Um, okay, so so Alicia Baumgardner versus Layla Bordouin is the chief support. 12 3-minute rounds
yep,
for the women. So obviously Alicia Baumgardner vacated her WBC belt to allow this fight to take
yep,
place. Um, what I will say
yeah.
is, even with, and I didn't want to kind of go here, but now look, I don't know Badoon, so I'm not going to say much about her. Having looked at the box rec though, her last fight, it was, she did knock out Ellen Mekhaled, which is impressive, or it was knockout TKO because
Yep.
Alicia didn't stop her.
I was about to say I know that name.
Yeah. Um, and neither did Chantel Cameron. She lost to
Interesting.
Alicia and Delphine Pursoon, unanimous decision, and it was a majority decision with Chantel. It doesn't say how Layla won, whether it was like a TKO, ref
Yeah.
stopped it, or the corner, or maybe a cut or whatever.
Yep.
But right, just the only reason I say it because I watch a lot of the women's stuff. Even if they're in Canada, States, Mexico,
She's
Argentina.
Canadian, isn't she?
Yes, she's Canadian, French Canadian. Um, but I've not heard of her before. And looking at the record, there's only two names on the record that I recognize. One is Carla Ramos Zamora, who is like a journeywoman, and then Alem Mekhaled, who looks to be basically her step up fight.
Okay.
So congratulations to her in that sense. But I just feel like this is almost Alicia treading water, because if you look at, all right, so she got the undisputed run. Since she went undisputed, obviously she had Christina Leonardo too, and then she had the Delphine Pursoon fight, which ended up as a no contest. And then she ended up fighting Jennifer Miranda, who was actually a 126 girl who moved up. And I wasn't scoring it on the night, but admittedly, I watched that fight and thought Alicia got beat personally.
Serious.
When I was watching it, like I said, I didn't score it. I didn't go back and watch it again to say, okay, which round. But she looked like she was getting touched up throughout the entire fight.
Damn.
So I see that, and then I'm like, okay, and now you're fighting sort of another nondescript person. I get it. You got all the belts at
Mm.
130. But from you gave up the WBC, now you're no longer undisputed. There's no real reason for you to stay sort of boiling down to make that weight.
Yeah.
You could quite easily go up to 135 now. Challenging a new weight class, take over. If you are who you say you are, take over another division, possibly go up again after that. Like if you see the way, like even though look, Alicia's probably making much better money or has slightly higher profile at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but if you look at the way how Michaela May has been running her career, now, yeah, she couldn't continue to make 130, admittedly, but she's now started, she's going through weight classes,
Yep.
two, three, and two, three belts in separate weight classes. She's now, I think, a free weight, possibly four, no, free weight world champion.
Yeah.
So it's like it's time to start building the rest of the legacy now. There's no one else for you to fight at 130. You can't continue to bring up girls from 126, even if they are MVP girls or whatnot. Like there's there's no reason for you to continue to gatekeep there because there's just no one around that's going to give you the
Challenge.
necessary tests or to give you the profiles. Now, unless this is just a way for you to increase the profile for the next fight, possibly. But as I said, based on how you looked against Miranda, it almost just feels like taking easy street. And again, I could be totally wrong because Layla could be, she could be a monster. I've only seen bits and pieces of her fights. I've never seen a full fight all the way through.
Mm.
So I can't say that I know enough about her to say, yeah, this is a really credible test. But just on a card, on a Netflix card, I would expect them to have tried to find a better opponent. They got away with it in the Miranda fight, a
Hmm.
woman from Spain who no one had heard of prior to that. But it's like, don't be scrimping on their opponents, or give us some names that will actually have some intrigue. And that's kind of my feelings towards this fight.
Is that a second fight under Derek James?
um
This is sorry. This fight coming up. Is
no, I
this?
think this is the third, because
Oh
I
right.
think she
Okay.
was under him under the Delphine Pursoon fight as well.
Fair enough. I know she's been with him for a bit, but yeah, you've just made me think because obviously you brought up Alicia. Obviously, her trainer is Derek James. Derek James used to train Anthony Joshua. Alicia is part of MVP, and when you just wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall with the conversations that, because come on, if I'm fighting someone and their ex trainer is like dealing with one of my fighters, I'm going to pick the living pieces out of them about that fighter. And we also know that Jake Paul's brought in Lawrence Okoli, and these people will know him as well, and he will know that as well.
Mm,
There's almost, like I said, and I know we're going back over it, but you made me think of it, base. There's almost like a quiet confidence, not arrogance, but a quiet confidence that Jake Paul thinks that he's got him sussed out. That's what I get from it. But there's loads of camp swapping. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen,
mm.
but I'm saying sometimes with those details, yeah, I think there's a quiet confidence there. But with Alicia, going back to Alicia, I don't know anything about the opponent. Um, the weight classes in the women's division always messes me up because they fluctuate too much. So I never really get to settle down and think they're actually a 130 fighter or whatever because they never stay there for too long.
Mm.
Um, but we'll see. Caroline Dubois is now over there.
Well, you got frosty about Caroline
Oh, I
when
missed that.
Cameron brought him up.
Oh, what
Oh,
happened?
didn't you watch it on the face to face?
See, apologies, guys. I switched it off after Anthony Joshua was finished. I'm so sorry.
Oh well, it was Alicia and Layla after that. Cameron brought up Caroline Dubois to her, and she was like, "Next question."
Wow.
And then she was, and this he said, "Oh, so like she a op?" So I thought you might be cool. And I said, "Ain't nothing cool. Like she can get it too, and all that stuff." So
Well, maybe she will. Maybe she will, because this is, like I said, this is the time to make these type of fights happen. Even though I can't see that happening just
that
yet.
fight. Well, here's the thing: that fight won't happen
Mm,
in its current iteration because Caroline Dubois holds the WBC title at 135. At least she just vacated her one to for equality on 12 3-minute
yeah,
rounds.
yeah.
So she won't then go up to face them for the title at 135. So
Mm.
that's going to give her a perfect opportunity to swerve that fight. Not duck it. I'm not saying she's going to duck it, but it gives her opportunity to not have that fight because Caroline
The WBC.
is working with a belt that obviously doesn't now align with her principles. And
Mm,
who knows? Maybe that whole thing about getting rid of the belt was a play to sort of stop that in the future, like it was a preemptive strike. Or maybe she just saw Amanda and said, "Boy," Amanda's like, "Yo, we'll give you extra if you stand with us on the 12 threes." Because then, quote unquote, Chantel Cameron decided to
yeah,
stand the same as soon as Sandy Ryan ended up being a
yeah.
mandatory. So yeah, it could
The
all be
pattern, isn't there?
political. Hmm?
There's definitely a pattern.
Yeah,
You've just said three fighters now. Not
mm,
that Serrano will fight like yeah, Serrano's different, isn't she? But yeah, there's definitely a pattern there. That's interesting. I forgot about Chantal Cameron because I
yeah.
think that was the fight that Sandy was like really looking forward to. Yeah, it's going to finally happen. And then Bish Bash Bosh, Gate.
Yeah, I want 12 threes. I want to fight like the men. All right, so going through the rest of the cards. All right, so obviously Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley. I think that'll just be a fun, nostalgic fight, but nothing special. Your Costa Valle against Yadira Bustillo. So now that I think it will be a very good fight for the minimum weights. Now, I know both of those women very well. That will. I'm not sure if what titles are gonna. I think the WBA title might be on the line for that because I know that Yo Costa was trying to get them all back after the Sanisa fight fell through.
Okay.
Not fell through the rematch. Sorry, fell through, and Sanisa retired and then got pregnant. Shout out to
Congratulations.
her and Chris Mannix. I think she had the baby now as well. So
Oh, it's for Chris Mannix.
yeah, they're married now. I think,
Oh, congratulations.
or they're engaged, one or the other.
Lovely.
Shanika Johnson against Amanda Guy. Now I don't know Amanda,
I like Shanika.
but I know Shanika. And funny enough, I'm looking at a lot of the opponents. They do all seem to be Canadian. So it's almost
Maybe
like
that's the
they,
link then.
yeah, it's very interesting in that sense. So maybe there's something else coming down the line. Avius Griffin is on the fight. I think he get KO'd in the last fight he had as well. Um, yeah, I mean the undercard, like I said, is yes, it's all about the main event, so maybe you can skimp on it, and maybe that's the reason why they have so many of the female fighters. God, look, let's be honest, we all know even in the matchroom days, you got the women on there because they gave good fights, but they weren't as expensive. It could be the same thing. Maybe the revenues you're getting more. Alicia and Yocosta and Caroline, they're not gonna cost the same as you know other even sort of like the up and coming male stars more time than not. So that could be the play. Um, I do think the undercard is a little lackluster apart from the Yocosta Valle fight. I think that's actually the only one that I can see and look at
Hmm.
as a 55-45, 50-50 ish. All
Interesting.
the others, just based on kind of how they look to me, they
Yeah.
very much look A side heavy showcase type fights rather than, you know, but then to be fair, the entire card is a showcase. Is the main event's really a showcase for Anthony Joshua in the States. And Alicia might be a showcase to maybe get her to that next level and hope that she does better in this one than she did in the last one, etc. And maybe you build up the Caroline dynamic in there to make the next event afterwards. I'm not sure, but
Who
yeah,
knows?
it's a like I said, it's a little bit lackluster for me, but you know what? I'm not gonna complain because it's free. That's the one thing I'll
There you
say.
go.
Even though obviously yes, I have to pay a subscription for Netflix, but
Oh, I always
this is
have.
just a this is just like a nice bonus on there. So that's
Little
how I look
Christmas
at it.
bonus.
So outside of this card and that,
Face,
yeah,
can I just got comment on what Iffy said in there? One of
yeah,
the guys,
sure.
Iffy, shout out to Iffy and shout out to everybody in the comments and that's watching live as well. We do appreciate this. So please keep the comments coming. I've got one eye in there. Iffy says, Alicia has bad energy. I know I'm not the only one that can see it from afar. Iffy, I will say that she was probably one of the nicest fighters I've spoke to, female fighter. When I first met her and I approached her, and my channel probably had about 150 subscribers. She was like, "Yep, I'm coming on. I'm supporting you. This, that, blah, blah." And under my old, I had another Instagram account before it got locked off because Instagram and people are weird. We followed each other on that account. She was absolutely amazing, beautiful, beautiful energy. I'm not a girl's girl because I'm not. I'm a boy mom. I naturally gravitate towards men, if you hadn't noticed. But she was absolutely amazing. I can't say a bad word about her. Obviously, I understand the negativity around the tests and stuff, but as a person, she's really nice. She
Do you
really is
know?
nice.
Do you know what I will say? And again, look, everyone knows that I've always been an Elisa supporter from day
Yeah.
dot, but I think I will acknowledge what Iffy's saying. I feel
Mm.
like her energy has changed.
You think?
Um, I think since I'm not sure if it's since the testing, um,
Somebody said that. Did
or
somebody say that?
it might have been since her father passed, but she doesn't come across as nice, warm, and inviting now as she did before. I'm not saying she's a bad person,
Mm.
but I even there's a lot of just the demeanor, a lot of maybe it's because now, but whereas before I would see her on, on the old X, Twitter X and stuff, and I would used to see sporadically. Then at one point I said, let me actually turn my notifications on to when she actually tweets, just for the fact that I can, because I was, when I was trying to get in touch and everything, and I was
Yep.
trying to, okay, if I can get to you before everyone else, maybe you'll notice it and we can set something up. And then I just used to, there was just a lot of randomness that she would start tweeting for, and I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? And it's just random. Like one, it just might be like a or two, 3 words, and then you've got one big Bible quote like 3 tweets later, and then it's back
Um,
to some BS. And then I'm just like, this what she's always been like? And so I was like, I can see where there might be a change. Like I said, I don't know if it's
yeah, she did
from
lose her dad.
there was that. I don't know if it's from there. I don't know if it's feeling like people were against her with drugs, or she
It
had
could
to
be that
switch it up.
defensive
Or she had to switch it up and say, okay, well, I've got to do a new tactic now because
to sell.
I've lost whatever it is at that point, or maybe because she was overexposed to certain things, and now like she's more of a celeb than a boxer during that period of time. I don't know, but I can see where he's coming from, where it feels a little different. I don't know if I'm going to call it bad energy, but I can see she doesn't seem as inviting and as warm as
You
when
know what? I'll wait.
I
If I
first
see her in
heard
the
of her in 2019.
Well, if I see her again in the UK and she blanks me, then I'm going to have to take all of this back. But I can only go on what I saw of her back in, I think it was 2022, 2023, around then. But like I said, you know, I'll just I'll see what she's like when I see her again. But she was one of them that heavily did support what I was doing, and I don't forget those guys. But that was pre all of the bad stuff. So I
Mm.
get it, people change,
Yeah.
but I can only go off what my experience is.
But again, that being said, still think she's great.
Mm,
Although I do need to see a good performance from her
yeah,
because it's actually been a while, and it's crazy because obviously she still talks like she's got the brick hand and big knockout artist and ain't had a knockout since the Terry Harper fight. It's a bit, it's getting a bit, you can't really trade on the same things anymore unless you know you know what I'm saying. So yeah, and there's been a couple where they've been there on the plate. So you either got to take this girl out, or you've got to make it look so dominant and clear that you can still carry on talking the way you talk.
the crud.
That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Mm,
But
mm.
yeah, okay, look, so let's get off of this one for a moment. Let's
Mm-hmm.
take it back to the weekend just gone very briefly, because we had Murat Gassiev and Kubrat Pulev in the for fighting for a regular heavyweight title, which
Yeah,
doesn't mean much, but
no,
it does at least allow you the opportunity to consolidate if you do everything that's necessary. Now, prior to that, Pulev was granted this opportunity on the basis that he would fight Moses Atamo. Now, Murat Gassiev has the belt. The question is, will Frank be as keen to go the Moses Atalma Murat Gassiev route? I mean, he's not quote unquote an old man, and he hits very hard. And I saw a very big interview with Frank earlier on today with Coogan, where Frank was being very very elusive
yes,
and
it was.
saying, yeah, so well, it's an option,
It's
but
an option.
wherein they have the deal for the options to get the noses the best. And it just like the way you were saying is like, okay, before you were screaming Pulev, so why is it now just an option,
Mm.
whereas before that's the way you were
Yeah,
going?
let's wait until he gets through Franklin. Franklin's tough, etc., etc. Let's not talk about that yet.
Yeah, so that makes me feel like they're gonna look to swerve that opportunity all of a sudden. What's your thoughts?
Um, I personally and base, please feel free to pull me up. I don't see Gassiev as a threat to Moses. I
Okay.
don't. I'm sorry. I think he's a good boxer. He is, but I just don't see him as a threat to Moses. Obviously, they're gonna navigate him where they navigate him. I can't remember. Are they doing the WBA route with him?
Who, Moses?
Yeah.
They were.
Okay. So that should be the next opponent after, should he get through Franklin. And I think if he's not the next opponent and that was the route that they were taking, then we can really start asking questions, like really start asking questions. And I will say that to Franco, like he's got through Moses, the WBA route was the route. Are we now fighting Gassiev? If not, why not? What's the change? What's happened? And it's just
Mm.
about asking. those direct questions, I think, when you can probably nail someone down, when or if he gets through Jermaine Franklin. But it's one of them. He really wanted the Pulev fight. That fight was supposed to happen. He was underhanded and whatever was done. Clerical error, according to Al Siesta, had him on the channel. Frank was like, "What the hell you on about?" But it ended up that they granted Gassiev the fight, and Al Siesta said the fight we want is a Tauma Gassiev. That's the Gassiev a Tauma. That's the fight that we want, etc., etc. So they will be pushing for it. And
Mm,
Alciesta seems to be able to get his own way in things as well. I will say that about him. Thanks for replying to my messages, Al.
interesting. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we won't really speak much about the card. Brutal knockout, which we
Yeah,
both
it
did
was, weren't it?
expect. I think I did. I predicted. I think it's round 7 or 8, so I wasn't
Oh,
too
spot
far
on.
off. But yeah, but it was one of those ones. It also showed me what Gassiev is like nowadays. Like he's not just going to warm into things. He'll literally just give up
Oh, yeah.
rounds. And I feel like if you look at the people that he's lost twice. He's lost to Usyk and he's lost to Otto Wallin. And in both of the instances where he lost, it was to people that had movement. Usyk obviously elite movement and quickness at cruiser, even though he
Mm-hmm.
did manage to catch Usyk a couple of times. So Usyk showed he's got a chin on him. But then you also had Wallin who was taller,
Are they
rangier.
southpaws? Are both
Yeah,
of them southpaws?
yeah. So there's that part as well. But the fact obviously Ranger and if someone that was more willing to move and sort of box on the back foot.
Mm.
So it's like you can kind of see who gives him trouble. It's people with movement, quick feet that can get in and out. Now, yes,
Moses.
if he can catch you when you're coming in, because he does sometimes have pretty good timing, or he does have a decent catch and counter at points. But
Okay.
outside of that, unless he actually does like better behave where like he'll move in towards and
Yep.
step into the shot,
Yep.
and even though it's not
Still
the
punching.
quickest, but he does
Yep.
it in a sort of a consistent manner.
Mm.
Unless he's able to do something like that, then yeah, he's kind of he acts a bit like a sitting duck for a lot of those type of guys. But
Yeah.
my question is, because everyone keeps talking about the chin, can he take a shot? Has he taken a shot? And he keeps saying, "Well, look, it's my job to not have that happen."
Yep.
Do they then say, "Well, yes, he should beat the brakes off of him, but we know that power's real, and we've seen him land it on people that are more experienced than Moses."
Mm.
So it's one of them ones. Do they roll the dice because they know, because they feel that they can beat him, or do they not? Just because even though we think we can beat him, we know that power is serious, and we don't want to take the chance of whether he can take a shot until he's fighting for a legit
So
world
many
title.
questions.
So
Yeah. There's a lot of questions there, base, but what I did do, and this was on the advice of my older brother actually. So shout out to Big Bro. He said watch Moses amateur fights, and he's a very good fighter, and I really don't think he's anywhere near what he's going to be. I've tried to keep calm with him, and I've tried to like put him on the back foot, and I'm watching him closely. Um, the first thing I always look at, you know me, it's all about up here, and he's solid up there, and he is a good fighter as well. Um, I'm going to keep the lid on it, but I honestly don't believe Gassiev is a threat to him. He's lost to two southpaws, quick movement. Moses is quick, and yeah, I rate him. His job is not to get hit. He doesn't, he's not saying he's scared of getting hit, but he's saying I can move if I can move out the way. I'm not just going to stand there and take shots to prove to you lot. I'm going to move and I'm going to counter. So a lot depends on this Jermaine Franklin fight. If he gets Jermaine Franklin, I get it. The years are going on, and Jermaine's had a couple of fights, and it wasn't the same Jermaine that fought Dillian and Anthony, whatever. If he gets him out of there, then you know how many more fights is he going to have where we start thinking, yeah, he's got something about him. But I'm literally based. I'm just trying to keep a lid on it, trying to keep a lid on the little berries that are bouncing around in me at the moment for him. But I'm just going to chill. I rate him. I do. I rate him. But
Okay.
that's it for now.
All right, quick. Let's have a quick roundup of
Mm,
the card in Stockton, California, specifically because there were several Brits or Brit adjacent people on this,
yeah.
starting with Chev Clark and Anthony Holloway. Did you watch that fight on the prelims?
I did not watch Chef Clark.
Did you hear about what happened?
Is the guy in hospital?
I believe so. I haven't heard anything since, though.
Did he leave Virgil Hunter?
No, I don't think so.
Virgil was in his corner.
Yeah,
Amazing. Fantastic.
but I don't know what happened to the guy.
I
Like
mean,
they
sorry for that, but
Yeah, no, because they pulled him out after the fourth round, or he pulled himself out, then just
oh,
collapsed off of his stool and onto the floor, was stretchered out.
oh,
So, yeah, so we don't know up till now. We still don't quite know what the situation is with him. So
mm,
you know, Chev didn't necessarily get to really have a proper warm through, but whatever the situation is, obviously hoping that
yeah.
Holloway
I hope that he's
is
okay.
well, because
Yeah.
it was a bit disconcerting at the
Oh
time
dear.
looking at. Um, I won't talk about Nicholson and Yuli Hang Luna.
Why?
It started off well.
Yeah.
Both ladies were sort of doing very well at the start. Sky had she had the opportunity, like she had to adjust, to be fair, because Yuli Hang was a little taller than her, had a bit of a longer reach, so it was
Okay.
something she didn't have to worry, or she never had to deal with before. But after about 3 or 4 rounds, she just started basically spamming the same move over and over again, and it just became a bit. Um,
Mm,
to me, it became a bit displeasing to watch. It's not to say that I
displeasing.
don't get me wrong. I don't mind. Look, I don't mind if someone is a boxer or low volume or stuff, but when it's like you're doing the same thing over and over again, and your opponent is just kind of letting you, but you're not. It's not like you're setting it up a different way.
Okay.
You're literally. It's like I likened it the other day to playing Street Fighter, and someone just knows how to do a fireball, but they do fireball from one side of the screen. Just they just spam the fireball, and then eventually, when you just about manage to get up to them, drag an uppercut, and then they jump back to the end of the screen. It's fireball, fireball, fireball till they take your energy. That's just is what it felt like in the moment. There was no. It just became extremely repetitive. So it started off well. Then they started jockeying at each other in sort of rounds 8, 9, and 10, and it just yeah. I'm not saying it wasn't a horrible fight, but it was just if people were wanted to complain about Haney and Norman, like yeah, this to me was a lot worse in the second half.
Oh
So
my
it was
God.
one of them ones. So yeah, that's why I didn't really want to speak too much about it. But
Okay. Holloway gave an update on his Instagram. I just checked. It
okay,
says, although I passed out in the ring, I'm relieved to be safe and appreciate your kind inquiries.
okay, cool. So
So
that's good then.
thank God for that.
Um, then Joe Cordina and Gabe Flores.
So pleased for
Was it?
Joe.
Yeah, Gabe Flores Jr. Now, I didn't see I saw the fight, but I wasn't watching it like in its entirety because I was
Mhm.
watching something else at the same time. So I was kind of flicking back and forth, and it looked like Joe was in control for a lot of it, but I saw him get hit a lot in exchanges,
He did.
trying to throw
Counters. Yep.
combinations,
Yep. The jab
getting
as well.
stunned and
Yeah.
rocked as
Yeah.
well. So I was like, okay, this to me is a bit concerning because Flores ain't the guy like that. Shout out
Yeah.
man like JD. Uh, so yeah, I just thought, okay, I just wanted to. I need to see him again. Now he's been out of the ring for a little while, so maybe it's a case he just wanted to impress. Like it's in a different country, he wants to maybe get a bit of a fanfare,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I said, okay, give grace on this one, and he did basically win the fight extremely. Like it wasn't a contentious decision,
Nope.
but it was just the way he was getting hit in these exchanges was telling me you're way too open for world level if you're getting countered like this against guys that ain't at world level.
Yeah. It was the jab as
Um,
well.
and that's kind of the way that I was sort of looking at it. So yeah, there then obviously Diego Pacheco and Kevin Lelesajo. I'm sure you must have seen the highlights at least. What's your thoughts?
Which one? Sorry, I've just seen Philip Answers just quite rightly said that Undefeated have gone live. This is where sometimes we split audiences. or are you going to have two YouTube live streams active at once? We'll be closing up soon anyway, but thank you for letting us know. Sorry, Base, I got distracted by the comment. Which fight was you? Which fight did you want me to give my thoughts on?
Diego Pacheco and Kevin Lele Sajo.
Ah, now Sajo, a very muscular guy, has a presence about him. Can't say that I've watched many of his fights before, but when I saw him starting to handle Pacheco and literally rag him around like a rag doll, and really just spoil any boxing ability that Pacheco had, I thought, oh, I better have a quick look. Have a look at this guy and, see what he's about. I didn't know who he was before Saturday, but I definitely know who he is now. He looked really well in there, and he was able to take away Pacheco's work quite early. And I remember I was half asleep, but I was watching it live and putting stuff out on X saying, "What is he doing?" He's like giving this fight away to Sajal. But then, sorry, base, I fell asleep. It was going to happen. So
Of
I
course.
understand that Pacheco won, but some people were saying that it was a bit of a contentious win, or the
It wasn't it wasn't a
scoring.
contentious win,
Or
but the scorecards, I
all right,
think the
that was it.
scorecards were a bit diabolical. But that being said, though, I mean, I'll tell you about that in a moment. But I'm surprised you didn't see the Kevin Sajo versus Jack Cullen fight.
Was he the one that was doing the press ups
Yeah,
after the fight? It was him.
yeah,
I
that was
knew I
him.
recognised him. He looks a
Yeah,
bit bigger. He looked a little bit bigger than he did when I saw. I was there. I was there live.
right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he did the press ups
Okay.
after. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the referee said, "Oh, let's have none of that. Trying to just
Yeah, he did ten
steal his
press
shine."
ups. 10 press ups in the ring. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But no. I thought no. I thought it was a very well competed fight. Sorry. I think that the scorecards, the scorecard I would have said would have maybe been 115, 112.
Oh, look at
I
that.
see it. I see
Oh,
it. We've
I like that
got a nice little
support.
community over here. It's
That's
appreciated,
beautiful.
Tommy. No, I think 115, 112 was
Yes.
I could live with. Even 114, 113 because obviously got a point taken off
So it was
for
close.
the knockdown.
Yeah.
So 7-5, 8-4 I could accept, but when I saw there was a 116, 111, there was a 117, 110, which is basically 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3.
Ooh, nah, it weren't.
That's where, like, if you watch the fight, there's no way that you could say that he only won 2 rounds or
Nah, he was
3.
doing
Like,
very,
so,
very well when I was watching it.
yeah. So, yeah, it's just I thought he was a bit hard done by, but he's also shown Pacheco what he needs to work on. He wanted to get away from the Benavides camp because he said he didn't want to just be as known as Team Benavides because he's like I'm 24, I'm coming into my own, I'm my own guy. I want to sort of set up my own thing. He didn't want to be training in Seattle. He wanted to be training back on the
South Central.
um the West Coast, back where he was at. But the he done all of that to then he had his, like, I don't know if his amateur coach or his junior or his youth coach who was a part of his Benavides team. He basically promoted him to head coach. But it's like
Split the
he
team up.
doesn't. Yes, but the thing is, it's like if you've gone to now have your own team, you're basically still training the same way. Like you're going to be doing the exact same things if he was already a part of the camp that you was in
So you might as well
previously.
just stayed there.
Yeah. So it's either if you're gonna have your own team, either you change everything,
Yeah.
or you go with someone now that's of a bigger level
Yep.
than where you're at, because the person who's training you ultimately isn't, I mean, for all of Benavidez's flaws, he has been a two-time super middleweight world champion, and I guess interims and pay email belts or whatever. But he's a championship, so he's
Correct.
training with someone who's now got experience at the championship level. Your
Correct.
guy doesn't have that. So if you was gonna go, you need to go now with someone that can elevate you to that. Because the one criticism he's having is that he doesn't really look like he's improved much over the last few
I
fights.
agree.
As the level of competition has now
I
gone up,
agree.
he's not going up with the level. He's kind of stagnating and
I
now
agree.
having some not life and deaths apart from this last one, but he's having stakeouts with people that he's got clear advantages over, and I think that's where we have to kind of look at
Do you think there's
the
some other
Checo and
issues, base?
in what
Is it young?
sense?
Is it because he's a young guy, impressionable, started off really well? I'm sure he was one of Eddie Hearn's youngest signings at the time.
Yeah,
He was
17.
yeah, he was practically a baby when he signed him. Uh, for some reason, he just now decides that he doesn't want to be 100% into Team Benavides. Is there something going on potentially that we don't know about? Because I
I
do
mean,
agree with you with the decline, potentially competition, but is there something else going on with him? I've met him.
quite possibly. I mean, I know he's got a young family now as well, so
Okay.
maybe constantly going to Seattle, maybe he wants to be closer to his family. There could be all sorts of things, or
Yeah,
maybe
you're
he's like,
right.
okay, well, as the money's about to start going up, maybe I want less hands in the cookie jar, so to
Yeah,
speak. There could be, yeah, it could be a lot of stuff. I
maybe.
think if you just said probably money dispute,
Yeah, you're
I
saying
wouldn't be
it right.
surprised. But I just feel like if this isn't the wake up call that he needs to either get someone else in and put this guy back to second in command, or get rid of him totally and go with one of the top level guys, he may not get past
That's what I'm saying.
this ceiling.
Yes.
So
And it's a
that's just
shame
kind
to
of my
see him with the
concern there.
ceiling. Because I like his style of boxing, but this Sajal just said, "Nah, not tonight, love. We're dancing to my tunes."
Yeah. So let's see. Let's wait and see. I suppose. Um, any other stuff that we wanna go over quickly? Because there's
There's a couple of things in the comments. Somebody mentioned something about Conor Ben. I think he was having a go at Duke McKenzie. They had a bit of a to
oh
in and a throw in. I think Duke McKenzie did a video. I think Conor Ben confronted him and basically says, like, I think Duke went to shake his hand, be polite, hello, and Conor Ben was like, shaking whose hand? I know what you've been saying about me. Say something else, and I'm going to sue you. Get out my face, kind of thing. And a couple of people on X of like, anti Conor Ben says, "Oh, drugs cheat," all the usual stuff. Duke McKenzie's put out a video saying, "Oh, it wasn't nice to be spoken to in a gentlemanly way." Put that out as well. But a comment that I did, and I retweeted this, and I did like it, and I'm quite proud of liking it, so I don't actually care if it offends anybody, was a response from Jane Couch. Jane Couch said, "I had some terrible abuse from people in the boxing world just for wanting to box." Obviously, woman, female fighter back in the day. "Good
hmm
job there wasn't any footage, laughy face. It's the boxing world. Just got to move on. No point in getting upset, Duke. Some of the things you said about me wouldn't be allowed to be said these days." And she sticks her tongue out in the stick. And I thought, yeah, everyone's got a right to say everything until you come back and say, but actually, remember when you said that about me, which was negative. So yeah, so
So that was in response to Duke.
that was in response to everybody posting the Conor Ben and Duke McKenzie
Oh, okay.
card, and then Duke's obviously put out a video on his own channel, just basically saying Conor was out of order, and I haven't done, saying that he hasn't done anything derogatory or wrong to him, etc., etc.
Right. Okay. I get it. I mean, to be fair, I've seen a lot of those Duke McKenzie interviews, and yeah, he's not necessarily dissing, but he's basically saying Connor ain't world level. He's doing them ones in it. Like if he tries to go back to 147, he's going to be a shell of himself. He'll get himself beat, and so yeah,
Or
he's
they're saying
giving
that
his
it's a lot
opinion.
worse than that. He was trying to intimidate. Conor Ben was trying to intimidate an old man.
Oh well.
I'm sure
I
Duke's
mean
trying
that
to
we can't
say.
support. I mean, look, if you're gonna do anything, Connor, let's be real. Like, just get your dad to talk to him. Like,
Well, just allow it.
what?
Just leave it.
No, I'm saying, but if anything, like, why are you talking to if anything, like, that's your dad's supposed to talk to people that age. That's the age, mate. That's the level of respect.
Yeah.
Even in the mafia families, you get problems with the children. No, the two dads sort it out, and then the children fall in line.
The
But
thing is,
anyway,
you're going to get a lot of people saying a lot of things about you, and kind of just needs to not let people keep drawing him out. Just whatever. Just you're going to see people. They're going to say things, whatever, whatever. like he's pointed out, he's the rich one, etc., etc. He was one of the things that apparently he was saying is, more or less saying, I've got more money than you, etc. You know, I've got more money, kind of thing. But whatever, just don't let people draw you out, man. If you ain't fighting in the ring, it's not worth arguing with people, is it?
Fair dues. Now, I don't know if you want to end on this one, so maybe we have to find something to talk about after very briefly. But
What you gonna say?
Chris Congo
I knew he was gonna say that.
at middleweight,
I didn't watch the clip. I still haven't watched it.
you still haven't watched the clip.
Still haven't watched it. I've been sent it
Well,
about 10 times, base. Ten
I've
times.
seen it from several angles.
And
Um, yeah, I mean, it's not good. The only thing I can think of is literally he saw the guy's record and said, like, I'm gonna take the piss here
oh,
because
he overlooked him.
he definitely overlooked him because in the start of the clip he's doing well, like, but you can
Is
see
he?
that he's taking chances that you don't necessarily take with anyone, journeyman or not. And it's at a weight that he's never fought at before. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
new
thing.
weight. Yeah.
Why are you fighting at middleweight? That's not your weight, Chris. I understand 147 ain't easy for you to make, but 154, there's no reason for you to be at 160. And then even fighting on, like, you fought on Riyadh shows. Like, why are you fighting down against these levels
Bro,
of opponents?
answer me the question because I
You've
found
got
out
you've
that
got management that have got Riyadh ties. Like, why are you fighting on these shows that?
I don't know. That's the question that got me because he's no longer with the team Davison either. He's gone to Xavier Miller.
Yeah, I mean,
So
and
it,
look, I know he was a boxer fighter, and maybe that's part of the issue as well. That they ain't got no dates, so you're just trying to get a couple quick change. But now look, it's
oh, I ain't watched it. I
all
sent him
right.
a message just saying I hope he's okay. That's all you can do, really. I won't watch it. I got sent it by obviously our boxing group chat, and then about three other people in boxing sent me the thing, and I was like, I ain't watching it. Stop sending me the thing because I'm not watching it.
Red, he was
I can't.
1-18.
Yeah, but the thing
He
is,
gave him his second
you
win.
know those records can be a bit dodgy. You know
No,
they
but no, no. They no 1-18 can't be dodgy. Like, don't get me wrong,
can.
you can have a record like a 9-11,
I'm trying to make up
a
excuses
12-6,
now.
like those kind of
Hold
records.
on, I'm
Oh,
going to
but
do
one
Eric
and
Turf.
18,
Oh,
that's you gave man his you literally
oh,
gave him 50% of his win rate. Like, let's deep let's actually deep that. Chris, what are you doing?
I
But
don't,
obviously, look, Chris is like my guy. He's a
yeah,
cool brother. Like, obviously, South London born. So I hope that he, whatever he does afterwards, whether he decides, like, maybe it's time to leave where he can come back. Let's hope. But yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, crazy.
Have we got anything that we can end on that's a nicer note than that?
Um, it's not nice, but we've actually forgot to mention that there's a boxer show this weekend. But it makes me chuckle that that didn't even come into your brain.
Shame there is, isn't it? Williamson and Simpson.
Yep.
Because I mean, look, we did briefly talk about, like, Richards and Aziz at the start, and to be fair, I mean, we kind of alluded to the Nigeria card, but yeah,
Nah,
you're right. We didn't speak about either of them.
I was winding
I don't
Lawrence
even
up
know
about
who's on the
fighting
undercard
Tete.
for. Huh?
I was winding Lawrence up about fighting Tete.
What do you say?
I just says, "What's this?" Just DM'd
Yeah.
him and said, "What's this?" And he
And what
goes,
did he say?
"It just I got to keep active."
Okay. Is he going to keep the weight down? That would be a more important question.
We'll find out on Friday, won't we? It's his birthday
He's
today.
Hirokoli.
Mm.
Okay. Well, you can do him the honors, seeing
Yeah,
as
I
you
already
two did.
did. I already did. Yeah.
Good. Um, yeah, no, I don't even know who's on the undercard for the boxer card, to be honest. So,
Um, no, I don't either. But I do think the fight between Callum and Troy is a great fight. I think their styles. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a big clash, real big clash.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so where is your attention going to be then?
Um, Ghana,
Hmm.
but I will have one eyeball on Troy and Callum.
BBC.
Yeah, 100%. I have to because I
Okay.
do I like that fight. I do like the fight. Um, Eddie was trying to. Do you know who they're going to sign again? I was trying to get out of Frank if it's actually Callum Simpson that they're going to sign.
I
Uh,
saw the interview. Yeah.
so I was just thinking, what are they up to? Because Eddie's basically said we've took another or they've took a fighter.
Then they've lost another. No, they
They've
said there's
lost another
another
fight, and there's
person's
going to be an
leaving. Yeah.
announcement this week or whatever. There hasn't been one, but I'm thinking,
I wouldn't be surprised if the person is Lauren Price,
see,
and
somebody else said Lauren,
that they're basically that now she's also gonna find herself over to MVP because
so it
that's the
might not
easiest person to.
necessarily be going
Yeah.
to Matchroom.
No,
It
because he just said that they've lost
okay,
another. He didn't say that he was
instead
gonna
of coming to
sign.
me, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, then what happens if they lose Lauren Price?
I mean, yeah. Then they'll have Karis if she stays, and then they'll
Paris
have
stays.
Fran, and that'll be it in terms of the women. I think Fran will stay because she works on the BBC
Yeah, she
platform, like
fits.
her as a person.
Yeah,
But yeah, the rest of no, what I actually want Boxer to do, and to be honest, I've said the same thing about Matchroom previously as well. Like you need to update your website because you still got boxers on there that no longer
a
fight for
lot of
you.
them
Like
do that.
yeah, they need to come up because it's because I like to know who's who or who's where. So when you got the misleading information,
True.
it's a so yeah. But yeah, look, I hope good things happen with Simpson and Williamson, and hopefully the production looks, like it wasn't done by a 2-year-old this time. That'll be appreciated. Um,
The zone one was messed up. You know when the Connor Walker and Pat McCormack at the press
mhm.
conference, the sound went off, and I was saying, "Oh, I wonder if it's
I was there. I watched it. I saw you in the comments. I saw you.
like eventually I pulled the plug." I said I did a
Yeah,
live after, and I was just bantering that in it, like, "Yo,
yeah.
where's the sound?"
I was there. I was watching along, and I see you in the comments. Like, wait a minute, we're here for this, and then there's no sound. Like, what's going on? And then the eyes are moved. So yeah, I saw, I did
Oh,
see
we're
it,
all
and at
there
the time, I thought someone was trying to call my phone because I had it on Do Not Disturb, and normally that happens when someone's trying to call me through like WhatsApp, on not WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger or something. And then I was like, no, wait a minute, there's just no sound, and I'm turning it up and turning
then.
it down, like, but yeah, but at least the
Shout out to
production
Liam.
still look good, huh?
Shout out to whoever Liam is. Liam sent us over, so I've subbed. Thank you very
Oh,
much to whoever Liam is.
Liam Goff, G Man.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
he's
so
got he's rebranded his channel going by his first name, his real name now.
okay,
So
fair enough.
appreciate it, G Man, Liam, if
Yeah,
you're in
thanks for
the
that.
in the chat. But yeah, so all right, look, well let's everyone
We've
go
got to
and
say
crash the
goodbye, babe.
party over. Huh?
We've got to say goodbye.
Yeah, we gotta say goodbye. We got undefeated, get a little bit of something tonight.
Hold on a minute. Are we doing one on Christmas Eve or what?
I mean, we
Is
can
it
do.
Christmas Eve?
No,
Is it
it's just
Tuesday?
23rd. It's
Oh,
23rd.
yeah, we'll do the 23rd because obviously the 5,000 cards that are on this weekend. So we will be back for our Christmas special, yeah?
Yeah, we can do the Christmas special.
Good.
All right. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much for tuning in. Appreciate everyone who has been here. Oh, apparently undefeated locked off. Oh,
Hmm?
okay. Not sure why that is, but hopefully they'll
I
be
must have missed
back
that. Where's
later.
that in the comments? Okay.
Yeah, Muller just said. He said. I think he said earlier that they had locked off or something.
Okay.
So must have been an issue. But yeah, Karma Serene just came into the building, shouted. She's like, "Yeah, Christmas Eve. Nice. It's the eve of Christmas Eve, Karma, the
The
twenty
eve.
third.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll be drinking and seasoning up that meat, getting ready for the day after.
Yeah, all of
My
that.
hands,
What she
my
said.
hands and mouth will be very full on Christmas Eve. Sorry.
Right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we gonna leave you till next week. Thank you very much for tuning in, and yeah, until the next one. Peace.